Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of this podcast is Feeling This Moment to the Fullest. And this came up for me today when a friend of mine was headed outside the city on a train, and she was telling me that her husband was picking her up at the train station. And in that moment, all of a sudden, I started to remember all the times that my ex-husband picked me up from someplace, or I would pick him up from a train station, and how I always thought that everything would be like that. I don't ever remember waiting for him to pick me up someplace, feeling that deep gratitude or the sacredness of us meeting in that moment as if for the first time. And I'm sure maybe in the beginning of our relationship it was like that. But I think sometimes when you get into a routine and you get used to things, you don't realize that things are not always going to be that way, that things always change. And I realize it could frighten some people because they're walking around thinking, oh, I'm never going to have this moment again. I have to enjoy it. Oh, what's going to happen when I don't have this moment? And it might feel that way when you think about it, but when you're really in it, if you could really touch that point of deep love and appreciation, you fall more into love, you fall more into your heart, you fall more into the moment and what it's offering you. It just happens naturally because this moment becomes so special that you don't want to give it up for anything. So you might start with this fear, well, how can I live like this? How can I live with the thought that it's always going to leave me? But on the other hand, how can we continue to live our lives always thinking about the future and never really being exactly where we are, living the deepest part of our lives, which is in the moment, the most meaningful part of our lives. It's the everything. And I have no idea how my friend got off that train and how she reacted to her husband and how they had dinner together. But I think the realization for us both is we can't change the past and we can't control the future, but we could surely show up for this moment more in our heart and less in our heads. And what's so interesting is that we try to control it all with our mind. We blame our mind for not being present. We actually blame our thoughts for not being present. But the truth is, most of us can't control our thoughts. They come and they go. And the problem is that we're the ones believing them, we're the ones absorbed by them, and we're the ones letting our thoughts take us out of the moment. And that's why people meditate. People meditate so they create this space before the thought where they can observe the thoughts more and remain present. People do mantras. People have affirmations. People do breath work. People do yoga. And it's not really to stop the thoughts. It's really about not letting the thoughts control us and getting back to our heart. Because when we're in our heart and love comes before fear, then whatever before us, we could truly be with it. And perhaps we go in and out with this. Maybe there are days we're so aware of that and other days we forget, and that's okay. But all of us know the days that we are present and we are just enjoying what we're doing, we have a deeper level of satisfaction. We're more connected to the people in our lives. And we actually achieve more because I know when I am present in my life, I am more focused, I am more connected, and my best self shows up. And I accomplish so much more. When I'm stressed and when I'm thinking about the future, when I'm regretting the past, I kind of feel this messy, slippery energy. I could be with someone at a meal, but if I'm all over the place, I could hear what they're saying, but I'm not really connecting with them, with my heart. I'm surely not as funny or witty, and also I don't taste the food as much. And what's so interesting is sometimes all you need is 3 deep breaths, diaphragm breaths, deep breaths to return. And sometimes you have to just keep committing to it. Different times during the day, where am I? Am I here? Is my mind in other places? And just keep creating that awareness and give our mind a break and try to breathe and feel our heart and try to connect back to what is meaningful, what is real and what is sacred. And of course, gratitude. When I was on the phone with my friend, I think she was feeling a sense of gratitude that her husband was going to pick her up at the train station. Instead of thinking, this is what my husband does. We talked about how lucky she was that someone was thinking of her to pick her up at the station. For all the things you can do in your life, this person chose to pick her up, and they were going to have dinner together. We forget that being with each other is a choice. Everything is a choice. Where we work is a choice. Who we're with is a choice. If we stay connected with family, it's a choice. We might look at life as a bunch of obligations, but they're not. They're choices. And we have to have a kind of appreciation for those choices instead of just expecting everything to be the way it is. Because when we expect it, we're not seeing things for what they really are. Instead of really focusing on the way life is, what is this moment offering me? What can I do in this moment to change my life? What can I do in this moment to connect my heart with someone else's? We think we're building some great masterpiece, but the masterpiece is the moment. And perhaps a string of moments create something that we could be very proud of, but they're really created by each meaningful moment. And the more present you are, the more you're connecting with that. I know when I live too much in my mind, it's overwhelming and it's really hard to manage. But when I live more from my heart, I'm living more in hope, I'm living more in maybe, and I'm feeling my connections with other people. Part of being here is about connecting, just enjoying the presence, enjoying the company, enjoying the food, enjoying the feeling, giving my mind a break. In a way, it's like jumping in front of your thought. It's the place before the thought. It's the place in you that never changes. And it's the place you truly can be your authentic self and push that forward. The moment is where it's at, and yet we spend all our time in other places, not because we want to, but because it's just a habit of how we live. We all want connection, we all want love, but we get so afraid that we can't have the life that we want. We get so afraid what's going to happen next. We get so put down by the past that we don't see the life in front of us. And the life in front of us is where the beauty is. It's where the creativity is. It's where the meaning is. And it's also, if you want to create a new life for yourself, it's where your power is. But that power comes from the connection in your heart. And it's not about stopping your thoughts. It's about removing yourself from your thoughts, stepping away from them a little bit, and realizing you're so much more than your thoughts. You're so much more than every feeling. You are connected to everything that happens in this world. Everything that's gorgeous, everything that's beautiful, and perhaps everything that's sad and poignant. But that's all part of living. The joy, the pain, the love, the fear. But the more we can let go and come back to where we are, at least we'll be getting the most out of every moment, whatever it's going to give us. Presence is the biggest gift we can give ourselves and we can give the people we love. And again, I know sometimes this is scary for people to think life won't always be this great, or I can't stand my life. I don't want it to be this way. Whatever your thought is, there's a lot of fear in that. And there's a lot of worry in that. And I don't take that away from anybody. But there's also a moment in front of you. A moment where you can make it different. A moment where you could come more from your heart. A moment where you could feel something so much deeper than any thought, any future, or any past. The heart is capable of opening, connecting, loving, creating, and really lifting all of us up to be present enough to create a better life for ourselves and those around us. You have what it takes to find presence in your life. You have what it takes to find meaning in your life. And you have what it takes to live more from your heart and create the life that you want to live. And know that this moment is where it's at. And for all you know, maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or A Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.